Standing at home for pro boxing fans in Manchester, we've just had the press conference ahead of Pat Brown's debut in Ultranum on Friday night with a man who's going to be more invested than most, Sam. Massive night for Pat Brown. He's had the media hoo-ha. He said that's not his cup of tea. How's he feeling ahead of Friday night?
Listen, Pat handles it brilliant way. He's a great speaker. He knows it's part of the job, and he's a very personable guy. He's a lovely guy, but like fight week, as you say, he just turns into a beast.
A lot's been made of the atmosphere that's going to be there. We're hearing, four-figure ticket sales for a debutant. What is that factor that's, without even a professional fight, Pat has got people in his community and people around him behind him, so in such great support?
The people, like you can see how he is. He's your average guy off the street. Scaffolding background. He's that guy. People can relate to him as they did with Ricky Hatton. I'm not comparing him straight away to Ricky Hatton, but I genuinely believe he'll bring the glory days back to British boxing. I really do.
Does it make your job difficult when you've got such a popular fighters and promoters? Eddie Hearn will be licking his lips. You want to manage him and progress him accordingly?
Yeah, we have to do it sensible. We can't be reckless with him. But when you see how he performs on Friday, people will want to see him fight an established fighter straight away, and he will want to do that himself. But it's our job, myself, Jamie Moore, Nigel, to keep him reined in and move him correctly.
With that in mind, what sort of progression do you see for Pat over the next 12 to 18 months?
12 to 18 months, he'll be pushing for titles for sure.
And you've got, of course, the long-awaited grudge match. We've got Eubank Benn, we've got Vuong Flynn.
Everyone's so looking forward to that fight, honestly.
Cameron's fed up with the talk of the win. He's fed up with Jordan Flynn.
He is fed up with it, and I think Jordan was banking on Cameron struggling at the weight, but Cameron, let me tell you something now, he won't probably say this, but it's the first time he's ever made the weight correctly and properly, and that's down to immaturity. But Cameron's shown a lot of maturity, especially in this fight, and he knows he's a 135 fighter. That's what the weight he's going to be campaigning at. That's the fight the weight he's going to be winning titles at, and he knows that he has to be professional. He has to be professional with his weight. Like, he trains hard, Cameron. He doesn't cut corners in that, but like he's like, whether it's his diet or whatnot, but simply Cameron Vuong has really transitioned into a man. But if you look at the fights he's had, look at his resume, you can only respect him. So people say, oh, Davin Gwet, look, he's taking on these challenges. Jordan Flynn's an undefeated fighter, and a lot of people are picking him to win. Let's see on Friday, but I believe Cameron Vuong is going to show his potential on Friday. I really do. I'm so excited.
You mentioned Gavin Gwynn there. It was a name that was said a lot. Jordan had the T-shirt, very entertaining. How has Cameron responded sort of mentally from the criticism that's come from that?
It doesn't matter, he won the fight. I've watched it back twice. You saw what I was like when Johnny Fisher boxed Dave Allen. I said I will say how I feel. Cameron won that fight. He landed all the cleaner shots, all the cleaner work, and that's why the judges picked him winning the fight. Gavin Gwynn came forward, he threw a lot of shots, but he took a lot on the gloves, Cameron. He applied lots of pressure, because Gavin Gwynn is fit as a butcher's dog. He'll go all night, Gavin Gwynn, and he's a real problem. He's a handful of a fighter, and I respect him massively, but Cameron won that fight.
Do you think the outcry, a lot of people, when an underdog does well... When you see a fighter where it's meant to be a one-sided fight and it's not, people cry robbery. That's what happens in boxing. Look, it was a close fight, but Cameron won the fight, unanimous decision on all the cards, and we'll see after this fight. But the only thing that matters now for Cameron is fulfilling his potential on Friday against Jordan Finn. Sam, just a couple other bits of business while I've got you. Some really sad news over the weekend, of course, the passing of both George Foreman and Colin Hart. Now, Colin, I'm sure someone you will have ran into many times, being in the boxing circle. He was a staple at the big fights, just some sad stuff.
My first real experience of Colin Hart, 'cause I'd met him a few times, but never really had a chance to. It was when he was picking Daniel Dubois to absolutely blast Joe Joyce, and I was like, why is he saying that? Why is he saying that? But you realise Colin Hart, if you actually go back in history, he doesn't care about upsetting anybody. He gave his honest opinion. He was a great journalist, and yeah, rest in peace to Colin Hart. And George Foreman, a titan, absolute titan, legend, entrepreneur, legend. What a fighter! Before my time for sure. I vaguely remember the Michael Moorer situation. I'd have been very young, but I remember, because I was a huge boxing fan from a very early age. I mean, I'm 37 this year, so I was around, but I was very young. But it's like I say, a bit before my time, but a legend. He was a world champion, and then he had that time off and came back and won the heavyweight championship at 45, which I don't think will ever be done ever again. So he's forever a legend.
Just why you say that, a lot of talk of Klitschko coming back. Do you not think he could potentially? I mean, that's gaining a lot of traction.
No, I don't. I think he can come back and probably compete, because if you look at Vladimir, you can see he's a specimen, isn't he? Looks after himself. You know, he doesn't live a bad life, but Father Time catches up with everybody.
Sam, before I let you go, what'd you make of Piers Morgan, Eubank Jr, Conor Benn?
It was Piers Morgan being Piers. I mean, the fight don't need to get any bigger than what it is. It's a great fight. I can't wait to watch it, and we're only a month away.
Is the fine 100 grand excessive in your opinion?
Excessive.
That was not intentional.
Probably, yeah. But at the same time, if the eggshell would have gone in Conor's eye or something like that, and it would have cut his eye, then you're talking about not being able to fight ever again. So I think it's more because Chris is earning a lot of money. They're probably thinking, because I mean, listen, if Jordan would have smacked Cameron then with an egg or something like that, would he get 100 grand fine? Probably not. I don't know. But Chris did say when he got fined 100 grand, money well spent, or worth every penny. So you have to stand on it. You can't appeal something you've already said worth every penny.
Is Eddie bottling the £1 million bet with Chris?
I don't think Edward John Hearn is worried about £1 million.
He was all happy to do it with Shalom.
Yeah, but I don't think you actually are allowed to do it. I don't think you are actually allowed to do it by rules, but I'm sure if he wanted to speak to him behind closed doors, I'm sure Eddie ain't going to have a problem with £1 million.
And last thing, before I let you go, can't believe this is a topic I'm bringing up to you.
Yeah, Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I spoke about it 3 or 4 times. Jake Paul's a marketing machine. Like Jake Paul, genuinely, I like him. I respect him as a businessman. But if he steps in the ring with Anthony Joshua, he'll get hurt bad.
Eddie talked about if that fight was to take place, like certain health insurance documents. Would that need to happen?
Oh, that's what I've just said to you, isn't it? He will get hurt bad. Like, I would be worried for Jake Paul's life in that fight, genuinely. Especially if it was real and there was no... I'm not saying it's choreographed, but unless it was an exhibition, I would be worried for Jake Paul's health in that fight. If Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul on the chops, it's going to be a horrific scene.
Sam, Eddie's not here today, but when we finish Eddie interviews, he gives us a big spiel on why they should tune in on Friday night. Come on!
I'm not doing his job for him. I don't get paid enough money for that.
Tell them why they should tune into your fighters.
Tune into my fighters because Mark Dickens, Conor Tudsbury on Before the Bell, ferocious puncher.
Unreal debut.
Ferocious puncher. Can hit with both hands. He's fighting someone who's already boxed in the amateurs, so not some easy walkover fight for Conor Tudsbury, so he's going to have to break him down. Then we move on to Mark Dickinson for his first title fight against Reece Farnhill, all action from the local area, sold a load of tickets. That's going to be a proper ding-dong. Then we move on to Cameron Flynn, Vuong versus Jordan Flynn, which everybody wants to see. I expect Cameron to come through with flying colours. Great fight, everyone's looking forward to it. WBO European title on the line, and then we move on to Patrick Bomber Brown. Do not fucking blink, because he will take this guy out in good fashion.
What more do you want, folks? Sam Jones? Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.